random thoughts that I want to share. Boy, I'm telling you, as soon as I start this recording, here comes a mosquito right in my ear. That means this is going to be a good one. Right in my ear, just trying to get me distracted. I have been in such deep thought these last few weeks, but especially these last few days. In the moment that I get to a point where I've digested it all and processed it all, other things are thrown in the mix. It takes me to a higher level. I mean, I've never been through this before in my life. So I'm going to try to ramble and get a few things out, but it might not make any sense because my eyes have been opened so much by things that have come to me as a divine download and things that are shown to me, as well as funny little poetic justices that have happened as far as karma is concerned of those who may have been around me at one time. So I have no format for this. This might be 5 minutes. This might be not 5 hours because I'm going to go to bed soon. But I've never experienced being righteously arrested as I have in recent times. I haven't even been putting out as much intense content as I would like. It's almost like when you're driving down the road and there's an ambulance behind you or a police car behind you, and you have to pull over to the right to let it go by. So when you get these types of intense realizations, you have to honor it by pulling over, in a sense, and letting it come to you. Well, let's just start out this way. I feel that these years are moving by so fast because of our perception of the world. And we have definitely been digitally hijacked, derailed. We're not even in the present right now. We're not even where we're supposed to be energy-wise. There's so much noise out there to distract us. We're not even spending time with ourselves. Lots of us will say, well, I meditated this morning. I took a walk through nature for 2 hours. Yeah, but you had your phone in your hand. And even if you left your phone at home and cut off, your mind is so stimulated with so many thoughts that are irrelevant to making you a better person, to bringing you closer to your creator, to bringing you closer to yourself. Because I remember a time in, let me see, late 70s, early 80s, really the late 70s. I turned 17 in 1980, right? In April, of course, that doesn't change. But all before those few years, I would hop on the train and go to Manhattan and walk around, pick a restaurant, pick a bookstore. And I was perfectly at peace with myself, spending time with myself. And it was like, I couldn't say two people, as one, but I enjoy hanging out with myself. To this day, I do. And I never understood why people that I knew felt that way. There are some, I'm not gonna lie, but the depth of it all, I really, really enjoyed being to myself. Now, I can be the life of the party. I can be a person who's around a lot of people and make it fun, right? But I've never had the feeling of being cut off. Even when I found out that there were entities who tried to isolate me and cut me off from whatever they thought they were cutting me off from, I never felt that way. I was like, wow, I got more time to think and create and make things happen and spend time with myself. So I can go either way that way. But it was just amazing to see how that worked. And the hijacking, we're so cut off from our own energy that many of us don't even know who we are. We've lost ourselves. We see this digital noise online, on our phones. And to me, this is all done on purpose anyway, to zombify us. And we try to emulate some celebrity, some influencer, We're watching people's business and not tending to our own. We're more interested in some people we don't even know. Could you imagine those who do get on TikTok, and since that's a popular thing now, and it's so accessible that anybody can just get on there. It's not like content creation years ago where it was kind of special. Like it was like 1 in a million, not really 1 in a million, but it was very few people who were creating content for online, and they kind of stuck out. But now everybody and their mama is just getting on to just blab out anything, or the feelings to want to be seen or heard. Maybe during their childhood, they maybe felt nobody paid them no mind, maybe, and they want to get on and say something, and they rate everything according to likes and hits and thumbs up and engagement and comments, and their own lives are moving along, and they're so caught up in this web. And this is one thing that made it easy for me to kind of say, hey, I don't want to be like that. I do what I do out of the heart, but I'm not looking for anything. So this has kind of made me not put the brakes on all the way, but kind of pump the brakes and slow down a little bit so I can enjoy the scenario of my life every single day. And I had a really wonderful day today, and I enjoyed it. Even though it really rained bad earlier, and I started out later than usual doing the things I was going to do outside, I still enjoyed myself. I tried to absorb every single moment of my day, well over 100%, to realize where my blip is on the radar screen. I always use that phrase. But too many of us are pulled away from the awareness of where we are in life and the real soul energy of who we are. We've been pulled away from that, to the point where, like I said before, many of us don't even know who we are. We're living a life that it's hijacked. We're off course. Really think about it. I'm not blaming or saying anyone in particular who's listening to this, but just consider it. Take your phone away, take online away. That influence right there is so big. And I've been walking along with it for so long, but I've been myself from young. I'm so glad that I had a chance to grow up without cyberspace. But there are many people I know who have, but they still got caught up in it. Maybe it's because I've been in this thing so long, it didn't just jump me and hijack me that way. I was already a character, telling my stories, telling my jokes. I was already doing the online stuff before online came into my life. So my mold is already like cement. When you put the mold in, it's dry already. It can't be imprinted with this foolishness. And this is what will make it easy for me to walk away from it, because it doesn't have me that way. But I look at the people that endlessly scroll, and they should be enjoying their life. They're getting older, but it's one link after the next, link dumping, just dumping links. Here, look at this, look at that, look at this. Look at the Czechoslovakian midgets. Global warming in Alaska. It's just so disjointed in their thinking. And you think watching videos or throwing links out to the world is changing anything? When we have to leave this level one day, it's like having to go to the airport 8 o'clock in the morning for a flight. And here you are 2 in the morning, didn't pack anything, didn't pack your underwear, your clothes, your toothbrush, your blade to shave, whatever you need in there. You didn't pack yet. And the cab is going to come 5:30 in the morning so you can get to the airport early. You haven't packed anything yet. That's what's happening from what I see. And we're so disconnected from each other, but we're so connected into this thing. So the human vibration is so reduced right now between each other. We don't feel it as much. When someone smiles at us, and I'm talking overall, when someone smiles at us, we don't feel it as much. It's more of a performance, more so than something genuine. People say I love you, but a lot of them don't like you. There's a lot of manipulation going on. And it's like he who dies with the most toys wins. And in this digital world, we're shooting for something that doesn't exist. And it's sad. So me, I accept myself for who I am. I do love myself. I take care of myself, right? And the people in my circle. That's what it's all about. But you have these energies around you sometime that in your reaching for the ultimate digital existence, they're doing the same thing too. And you might be closer to it in their perception than you. And now they're not going to like it. They want more likes. They want more hits. They want more thumbs up. They want more followers. But half the people on your timeline, do you really know them? No. If something happened with you right now and you needed to call, yes, some of us will have more compact circle, a more compact circle online, where it's more of the real people in their life, which I do have real people in some of my circles, but I can pick the phone up and call them. You see what I mean? But it's this performance that we put on to cover up what we know is lacking on the inside. It's this experience that we give others of what we want people to think or who we are, you see? And we put so much work on that. It's like the old car lot that has all the shined up, the waxed up vehicles that look so pretty when you drive by, and the pretty rims, but it's a rotten engine on the inside. And this is why they always tell you, call me 15 minutes before you want to test drive one of the vehicles. That way they can start it up, let it warm up. So when you put the key in, it starts it right away. But it's no good on the inside. And so this is why we have such perfect looking exteriors, and we perform, but in our own personal lives, there's a void, and we're miserable because we're not staying true to our real energy and cultivating that and facing ourselves, facing those gaps and those voids that we have on the inside to really work on it and to be true to ourselves. I don't have to be the heavyweight champ of the world. I don't have to be the best singer in the world. I don't have to be the most well-built person. You know, these things. When you're a kid, you dream big, and I'm not saying not to dream big. No, I'm not saying that. But stay true to who you are. We've been digitally hijacked, and so many of us don't even realize it. And we're more concerned with the superficial and how it comes off and how it looks, as opposed to, are we ready? Do we have our bags packed? Because we're all going to make that transition, but will we do it successfully? And I've been focusing on the weird stuff too, right? Social media brings out the weird stuff in us also, to a lesser degree or more of a bigger degree. But are we really ready? And this is why a lot of us can't endure silence. This is what I love being up in these mountains, peaceful and quiet and silence. Not many people can reach me like that. Or you can call me on the phone, but I'm saying just roll up in my front wall, my front gate, and just find yourself in here. No, I love it. And I've learned to connect with that person again. Not that I ever lost full contact, but there's no noise. If I want to get involved with noise, it's the noise I create, or if I step out into it. When I want to go downtown, I'll call it downtown. There is no real downtown here. Everywhere down in the crowd is busy. When I want to go to those areas, I know what to expect. Because as a person who was born and raised in New York City, I do crave the lights and the activity and the human beings moving fast. I get that here. I get the same thing here. It's a little different, of course, but I get that same sensation and I like it. But my cutoff point is a lot earlier than when I was younger. You know, well, once I get out there for a couple hours, I was like, I thought I was going to be out here longer. Let me get on back home. Let me get away from this noise. And more so than that, the spirits, these wayward spirits. Because if you're a person who is more centered than ever before, you'll realize that you attract people that might be a little off. I'm not saying you're not going to attract kindred spirits that are good people, but people can tell when you are centered, and I don't mean self-centered, but centered and somewhat content and balanced, because so many people are looking for that balance. And if you have it, it's very attractive to them. So you have spiritually needy people that will come around you feeling that you're the way for them to reach this feeling centered. And it could be a righteous thing also, but then you have wicked people too who they know they're not centered, they know they're not at peace with themselves, and they know that you are, and they come to disrupt. They come to disrupt. Kudos to the good people who don't come to disrupt. They see you as a strong person, centered person, and they gravitate towards you. But it's them evil ones now that can sense your power and sense your energy. And I tell you right now, you have the God-given right to defend it and protect it and not let anyone, just anyone in. You have a right to protect that energy. You cultivated it. You know, when we're younger, sometimes we don't know. You know, I was blessed to have a mother and a father, right? But my mother more so on the super spiritual stuff. I mean, well before the age of 10, I already knew about spiritual warfare and spiritual discernment. That's how I was thinking. Even as a young boy, I was aware of these things, to look past the superficial, look past the surface to what's really going on with a person, which is not always readily evident. It's not always going to stick out so obviously. Of course, you're going to get fooled in this life sometime. And God knows I've been fooled. And people have been fooled around me. You know, you have individuals, you know, and it's funny because in this day and age, I'm not going to get too specific, but, you know, death can really bring out how many people were deceived about a particular individual. Like the things that they say, right? Like you'll have somebody who you may have been around and they did you real low down, I mean, low down dirty, try to destroy everything you have. You know, you do things to them. They tell the world, I'm the one who gave them the money to build his house. Yes, him and Mrs. Scurv, I gave him the money. Yes. Wait a second. Much time has I loaned you money? And didn't ask for it back? So in this digital hijacking of false personas, you have people who may reach out to you because a person's not around anymore and everything they work for, as far as a false persona, collapsed and it's gone. Wait a second. How come when a person dies, they're elevated to sainthood? I ain't saying nothing about it. God knows, but it's just funny. All that collapses and it's gone. And it meant nothing. So this tells me the people who really care about you, the people who are really in your corner, the people who really don't harbor any bad feelings towards you, those are the ones that you have to stick by. But when people show you they're behind and try to smear your name because of their voids, it's imperative, it's mandatory that you cut that energy off. Because there's nothing nice about that. You invite enemies around you who proclaim that they hate you for no reason because of their insecurities, but they can douse themselves in that crack pipe of the smartphone and digitally hijack their own and allow themselves to be hijacked and lie to themselves. You know, people these days, well, back in the day, the big thing with the occult, the Ouija board. The Ouija board moves itself and it tells you things. I was never into that. And I had a young lady in one of my classes, I think it was in junior high school, and her family was into all of that. And she would always tell us about it. But now, the ultimate Ouija board, the ultimate tarot card is cyberspace. And people get involved emotionally mentally, spiritually, and they're wide open. Because when you scroll and you look at some of the content that people come out with, there's energy attached to that. These days, I'm not inviting everybody around me like I used to. Oh no. Once you're in the process of cleansing, you don't ever want to go back. Whether you're a content creator or not, but most people get on and say little things. So most people are creators right now. But it's like the sport of boxing. If I throw a jab, a left jab straight out, that means the left side of my body is open to receive a punch. So you got to keep your guard tight. Be careful what's stimulating you and pulling you in that sounds good. There's so many people that get online that sound so good, sounds so convincing. And when you inquire as to who they are, you really don't know who they are. When you really dig up and, do I know this person? Do I know who they're married to? Do we have mutual friends? It's only what they tell me, or it's only my perception of them. I mean, when you're going in deep like that, you really don't even need to be going that deep. Take it for what it's worth and move on. Use your spirit of discernment. But if you're drunk off of this digital hijacking, that's going to be null and void. You're not going to have that anymore. So everything that's fabricated, because it's marketing. It's just a different level of marketing. And people have learned how to market themselves in a way to be very convincing, to get into your life, to deceive you. And that's what it's all about. It's a hustle. And of course, we have, on a spiritual level, negative energies and positive energies. But the negative energies and the people who are scams, not just scamming people, but just people who are straight up scams. There are people I know that used to be around, and I'm watching them, weave this web of deception. Like, God, dog, you good. But I know what you are. But it's not my place to say anything. I'm just enjoying the show. Because eventually everything comes out. But get back to who you are. Go into the silence. Get away from the noise. Get away from the facade. You have nothing to prove. You just have to get through this thing. There's too much of a weight to have 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, 9, 10 masks that we wear. And when you get around certain people, you have to wear this mask. And you get around other people, you have to wear this other mask. It's a burden to carry all these masks. Be yourself. Hone your own inner abilities, your talents, the things you want to do. Not the things you see other people doing, that to be in the in crowd, I got to do this thing too. I got to talk this way too. I got to look this way too. BBLs. Come on, ladies. Why do you have to deposit your fat at your backside from other parts of your body? Legs looking like pencils, and it's not natural. Where does that stem from? You see other people doing this thing, and they deem it to be more attractive. But then you turn around in the beginning and you thought to yourself, yeah, well, these men out here, they just want one thing. But you turn around and blow up the one thing that you said that they want. Like they want true love because of your booty cheeks. A natural, well-developed backside is a beautiful thing on a woman. But this thing out of control, the perception that you have of yourself, that you're so insecure that you have to do this thing. It's the same thing with the men too, especially these old guys are getting older. Penis doesn't work as much as it used to. So they see people online and they're bragging about how they can keep it up for hours. And that's a damn lie. So you have to keep up by getting these blue pills called Viagra and other things. That's not going to last forever. What are you doing? Every day I have to say my age to myself. Not that I'm saying I'm getting old, but I always think about the times when I was younger and thought that a time half my age was old. And I don't feel old, but I'm older and I know a lot better. And you know what? There's things I still have to work on within myself. I'm the same person, a little more developed in my perception, but there's so much more for me to do. And it can be tough to turn your back on the world and look at and deal with the silence and look within yourself. For many people, that scares them. They got to keep on talking. Yabba, 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 yabba. Ah, bah, 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 bah. I know everything. Ah, bah, bah, bah. But you're scared. You're scared of those voids that you know are inside of you, and you don't want other people to see it. That's the problem. Well, that's the state of how things are. So I'm looking at myself now real hard, and I'm looking forward to a lot of uh, advances and progress in who I am. I've never been one to chase likes and chase hits. It came to me one time before everything was snatched down, and I'm like, I'm still going to do my thing, but there's nothing to gain out of. And again, I never chased it, but I made sure to put it out there. I do it when I feel to do it. And I'm more at peace with myself because I can put time into myself and my own personal life, which I will reveal certain parts, but I've decided, and I was speaking to Mrs. Scurv, we were decided, I'm not going to, show us all the house. No, well, I'm not going to do that. Not for everybody. Certain people in my inner circle will see and know, they know. But I'm not putting it out there for people to turn around and hate on you. Like I said the other day, a video was made of me. It took like 5 seconds of something I said, and really it revealed what they were feeling. Oh, he thinks he got it made out there. Who told anybody that? If I have it made with anything, I have it made from within myself. Inner peace. You can walk away from a house. You can walk away from a car. You can walk away from a job. You can walk away from a toxic relationship. All of these external things don't matter. You're here on the earthly ride. Yeah, if you want a nice car and you work for it, fine. If you want to live in a nice house and you work for it, fine. But don't let it get the best of you. That is not you. It's not you. That's the stuff around you. You're going to leave it. But I do believe there's certain attributes of the inner self that you will take with you once you elevate. But all this other superficial foolishness, I'm not stressing over it. Let me throw on my shorts, my t-shirt, my Crocs, and take a nice long walk. Get my little bag, have a few things in it, my phone charger, a roll of toilet paper. You might look, this is the woods. You might be far out somewhere. You need that toilet paper, that sanitizer, a couple extra bit of cash and something on your card if it works. And, technology can collapse anytime. And just go out into the world and enjoy yourself. Take yourself out on a date. What do you want to do today? Because so much of what we think we are is that hijacking digitally online. We have to talk a certain way, to look a certain way. We have to act a certain way. We got to front. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care. I'm not going to do anything to insult you unless you insult me. And maybe I won't even insult you. You'll get it down the line. But I like to just be free and be away from people who are venomous and have that negative kind of energy. I like to rock like that. But as many years as I've been here online, I'll tell you, my mind is not hijacked because I'm still that same young guy back in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, part of the 90s before I started noticing cyberspace. And I'm content with that. My thing is, I worry about these youngsters who know nothing else. I mean, if you were born in 1990, when did Facebook come out? 2004, 2005, YouTube 2005. And pretty much those years of righteous insecurity that you go through in your adolescence, it's bombarded with these images, and it's even tougher. So I feel we have a lot of grown behind men and women who are in their 30s now who still don't know themselves because so many other things were put into their mind. And they got to get rid of that stuff, but it keeps coming. And I know people in their 50s and 60s who they just watch people online, they stalk you silently, and they change up their profiles. And of course, the IP address doesn't change. And when you know people who can check those things, it's funny. You know what I mean? But time is moving on. Don't you want to enjoy life? You know, that was pretty late for me and I'm up, but my thing is, I know I'm going to wake up late. I would love to go to the beach tomorrow, but I know I'm not. It might rain tomorrow, and I don't want to wrestle with that. But it's my desire just to get back into myself all the way as I have been doing. And I never really stopped, but it's just important to never lose touch with yourself and don't let the noise of the internet hijack your mind. Because there's so many of us who don't even know who we are. And we're going to look back and realize that it's like a car. You mash the gas and the tires start spinning. The wheels are spinning, but you're going nowhere. They're spinning 100 miles an hour. There's nothing but smoke happening, and you're going nowhere. Some of us who are 50 years old are really 15. Some of us who are 70 and 80 are really 30. That works the opposite way too, because you have a lot of wise youngsters out here who understand, but it's far and few between. You know, we just have to think a little deeper. And the things that we argue with strangers about online, we get so caught up. We have to detach ourselves from that because those are big distractions. Because like I said before, this is by design. It's easy to take over the planet if we're all distracted and they're all in our own worlds, right? They gave us this thing first. You know, we used to have to go home and check our emails on our computer. We didn't have a smartphone. Man, I got to go home and check my email, man. I think I got an important email coming in. Now you can look at your phone. We married the phone with cyberspace, and now we're perpetually plugged in to this big distraction if you allow it. You got to get in and get out. If you have business that way, or you're doing something, you're creating something worthwhile, get in and get out. Because this thing will pull you. Could you imagine? The moment you go to bed and say, okay, I'm done. You fall asleep, most people with their phone in their hand. There's a post that's coming that you won't see. It never stops. While you go off and drift off to sleep, there are people talking, writing, arguing, bringing up good, but it's a party that you have to leave eventually. You have to leave it eventually. And one day you're going to make your last post. One day you're going to read your last post. How will people remember you? They might remember, like I said, in my case, with a person that I know, they might remember the false stuff, the imagery, but the wickedness on the inside, unless you work on that, that's going to be waiting for you when you make your transition. You're going to have to pay the consequences for that. You're not getting away. That's sad. I don't want to be in that situation. That's why it's more be reflecting on the inside and cleansing myself. But look at it now, 2025. Anybody who's lived enough time, they got to say to yourself, right? These last 10, 15, 20 years have moved by so fast. It seemed like time moved slower back then. It's because our perception of the world and all of the stuff that we're bombarding our minds with, we can't settle down. We can't relax. There's always something else that we got to look at. We got to see another link to open, another link to send. This is what's happening here. This is what's happening there. But what's happening with you on the inside? That's what I want to deal with. Because I enjoy being with myself. And I love being in control of myself. I'm better now than I was last week, than I was last month, than I was last year, than I was 10, 20 years ago. A steady improvement. And the Creator has brought people into my life to help me out. Again, thank you, Custom Model. You've helped me to evolve in the last few years. I mean, so fast, and I see things for what they are. And I'm enjoying life more so in my new state of life, put it that way, in the motherland. Because God knows I don't miss the craziness of America. And it's nice to see something different. It's nice to expand. And now my hunger to see the rest of the world is even amplified, hands-on, not just from a video, but hands-on. And while I do that, I'll be exploring the inner worlds of myself. and perfecting. You're not going to ever be perfect, but you can always perfect, meaning get better. Sharpen your blade. When you sharpen your own personal blades, you cut through life easier. If your blades are dulled with envy and jealousy and competitiveness and narcissism, you don't cut through life smooth. You got to keep your blades sharpened. Your perception will be better, and your ability to battle, oftentimes without having to move a finger or lift a finger. That's the ultimate. When you're in control of yourself, nothing out on the outside can control you. You'll see people jumping around, going through their conniptions, doing this, doing that, totally psyched. And you ain't got to say a word. It's so evident. Just be careful of what surrounds you. Be careful of who you let in, your inner space, your inner circle, your life. There's nothing wrong with protecting your life. Don't let people just come with a smile or come with a joke or a kind word. Test the spirit. They might even share some of the same culture with you. You know what I mean? That's an easy way to get in. Same background. And they will use you. And they'll spit you out when they're done, like you never existed. So don't even let that happen. But anyway, I said I was going to rant. I'm going to wrap this down. I know there's a certain few more points that I want to make, but my mind is just out there. I just want to touch base and share that with you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh, charging complete. I don't know if you heard that. One of my batteries. That's one of my pet peeves. It's not a bad pet peeve, right? But all of my batteries got to be charged. Even if it's 99%, I'm going to bed, I got to charge it. It's got to be 100%. It's just something that's about being prepared and having your electronics ready. That's a harmless thing. It's not a fanatical thing, but it's something I notice about myself. Something I like about myself too, right? That's what makes us unique. But anyway, hope I made sense. I touched on a few things. I'll probably be doing this every day like this. And let me know what you think. Lancescurv out. Much love to you all. Leave a comment. Let me know you're here. Peace.